All right. Well, here's the deal. I'm just going to go ahead and get out in front of it and say it. Totally worth the wait. Totally worth the wait for Black Widow. I'm rocking the Iron Man shirt tonight because, well, she is an Avenger. She was an Iron Man too. So, yeah. Just got back from seeing it. Man, I tell you what. Oh, man. Um, yes, I was very much excited and happy to go see this movie. I I really I couldn't wait. I was excited last year, and then it was like bummer after bummer after bummer after bummer when they kept pushing it back. Now we've all had to deal with the wonderful world of Covidia, but just for argument's sake, man, I, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. I know I haven't done anything for WandaVision. I know I haven't done anything for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Not done nothing for Loki yet. They're coming. They are coming. There was a method to my madness. Because when Marvel laid out Phase 4, and yes, I know they changed a great many things along the way because of circumstances, but when Marvel laid out Phase 4, Black Widow was the kickoff. Spider-Man: Far From Home was the cherry on top of Phase 3. Ended beautifully, and then yeah, Black Widow was supposed to kick off Phase 4. A lot of people were like, "Why in the world is Black Widow kicking off Phase 4?" She's she's dead. I mean, spoiler alert for the Avengers Endgame movie. I mean, she's dead. Um, the deal is she should have had her movie long ago, but there's there's logical reasoning behind it, and I thought it was pretty good. Um, it actually did the hero's journey that typically accompanies a film was there. It, you didn't need you didn't really need the aspects of knowing that she was an Avenger to enjoy the film. Um, Obviously, if you're watching Black Widow, you've I'm gonna guess that 90% of the people that are watching Black Widow have seen the other movies. Maybe not all of them, but they've seen enough of them to know who she is. Now, that being said, with Black Widow, the way it fits in beautifully. I will say this is not really a spoiler because a lot of people kind of knew about it if you followed it or watched, anything on it on the internet or YouTube or what have you. It's one of those things where it actually fits snugly. I mean, it just beautiful, right in between Civil War and Infinity War. I mean, perfect. Because there was a big gap there. I don't anticipate Marvel doing other films to fill in that gap because this is kind of Avengers Endgame's already happened. We're moving on. But this right here was perfect. Um, I I'll just go ahead and get into it. It started out the pacing of the film was it was top notch. It was what you expect from Marvel Studios, in my opinion. Keep in mind, when I do these things, this is my opinion. I'm not a bona fide Siskel and Ebert. I'm not a full blown movie critic. I do not go in to a movie with my critical thinking cap on. I go in, I absorb, I enjoy the film for what it is. Now, the thing I will say about it is I understand why the the beginning of the movie was it felt a little long. It really and truly did. It felt a little bit longer to me. But I get after watching it, I get why it was so long. I get it. It made sense. It's not a critique of the movie. That's just to me, it felt long. Honestly, I'll say this: the movie itself, straight up, I was blown away by how quick it moved. It was quick hitting, boom, 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 boom. It wasn't so much that it was quick hitting with action. It was more that it was quick hitting in the right ways, where the story didn't drag. There was not a lot of let's loiter over here for a minute. There was plenty of funny scenes. I mean, the theater I went to, we had more people in there for this movie than we did when I saw Fast 9 a couple weeks ago. I'm going to tell you, the whole movie theater erupted in laughter at certain parts. It was great. Everybody seemed like they were having a great time. Nobody was Debbie Downer or anything like that. It definitely had a good 3-act structure. And with the way the film paced itself, they did, and it was through text, unless you speak the foreign language they were speaking. It was subtitled, but they did reference that both Captain America and Black Widow, or they might have said Natasha Romanoff, but either or, we'll interchange them. Cap and Widow were both on the run. Everybody else they had already captured, Bucky and all them. So, yes, they did allude to the Civil War that had already happened. It's kind of a neat thing. Fast 9, all about family. This right here, it wasn't front and center, but it was kind of all about family, which I thought was pretty cool. A little bit of a running theme there. Family and family. But yeah, it was really, really good. Because I want to do a better job than I did the last time. Just in general on this video. I will kind of, break it off a little bit differently than I did last time. At the beginning of it, it was her as a child. I think Natasha was 9 and Yelena was 6. Key things to remember. Then it shows 21 years later, after that point of showing the opening segment of the film being their childhood. And there's some stuff about that it's kind of related to spoilery stuff, but basically the whole thing was a ruse. The childhood portion, it was just all a ruse to the girls. And then you get into the next part where she's an adult. Thunderbolt Ross is sending some troops trying to come and get her. Oh man, her banter with him was great because she's like, you look tired. You look like you need some sleep. But yeah, and then it just kind of moves on forward. Taskmaster, the reveal behind Taskmaster, I don't know much about Taskmaster. I did not read comics as a kid growing up. So a lot of my introduction to this is a little bit different than other people who are going to do the reviews for this movie. But Taskmaster, I thought Taskmaster was pretty cool as far as being the ultimate villain. Like, adapts to anybody's fighting style. So it doesn't matter who it is, they adapt quickly to the fighting style of the individual they're fighting. I will say that just the way the family dynamic went down, there was resistance to it. It didn't feel forced. It actually felt right. They drew parallels. The characters drew parallels between the current family dynamic with, you know, Yelena and Natasha and mom and dad. They all drew parallels with the Avengers as far as they made reference to the Avengers and her family and how that worked out and everything. So, it was good. It wasn't beat you over the head. It was just they made the references, they moved on. Yelena and Natasha, they full blown acted like sisters. I mean, that was pretty cool, and just the way the chemistry looked on screen, it didn't look out of place. It didn't look like far fetched or anything. Um, it, I'm just gonna say this because I don't know. Is it Budapest or Budapest? Every time I've heard that line said in any of the Marvel films when Natasha and Clint are back and forth, especially in the first Avenger when they were talking about how, or the first Avengers film, excuse me, when they were talking about how it reminds them of Budapest. It's what it sounded like he said was Budapest with a T, not Budapest with an H. So if anybody can clarify for me how that works out, by all means, please leave it in the comments. I like to learn, so this would be kind of helpful for me. The ending, the martial arts initially, the fight scene between Yelena and Widow was just off the charts. I mean, that thing was cool as cool could be. The only thing cooler than that, I think, would it be anything from The Matrix with all the wire work that they did. But the actual, just the full on martial arts of it, it's like this year's like the year of martial arts movies because you have Black Widow, which, I mean, she's not super powered. She doesn't have tech like Iron Man. So, she's not like Captain Marvel just from out of this world. So it's really, really neat to see just straight up martial arts. And then in a couple weeks, you get Snake Eyes. And then they did show a trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Gotta admit, that trailer actually got me interested in the film a lot more than the first trailer I saw. It looked really good. But yeah, it's like this is full on martial arts, and I'm loving it thus far from Marvel. They're really bringing out the martial arts side of things, which is cool. Of course, there was plenty of gunplay for those of you who like guns. Yeah, it was really good, and there is no mid credit scene. There is an end credit scene. We will get to that in the spoilers discussion. But as far as the movie goes, being that it's been well over, what, 2 years ish? If I'm not mistaken, I think Endgame came out in 19, I think, and then Black Widow was supposed to come out in 20, and they pushed it back to 21. So, yeah, I mean, it's been 2 years since we've had a new Marvel film. I mean, obviously there's TV shows, but for me, this is the first new Marvel thing I've seen in 2 years. I will get to those other ones, I promise you. They are coming. Now that I've seen Black Widow and I've got some time between Black Widow and Shang-Chi to watch WandaVision, which I want to watch that because it hit first, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier hit second. And it's kind of one of those things where now that we're back into movies, it's like you got to watch the story. You got to even watch the Disney Plus stuff to kind of keep up with what's going on to tie the threads all together. So, yes, we will be covering those. But as far as my final verdict for this movie, I mean, straight up is it's an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, just I loved it. I thought it was great. What knocks it down from a 9 for me is in the spoilers part of it, but it was definitely a 9 out of 10, considering that it's, Widow's only solo film that she's ever had and probably ever going to get, which shame on Marvel for that, because that was a killer movie. So go look at it, go watch, hang out. We're gonna do the spoilers next. I encourage everybody to go see this. It's great. Go see it. Don't be one of them morons that says, I'll spend 20 or whatever it is bucks to watch it on Disney Plus in my own home. If you can go to a theater and actually plap your butt in a seat and get the movie theater experience, I mean, now, unless you're like abundantly wealthy and you have a movie theater in your own home, and I'm not talking about, oh, I got a 60-inch TV. No, you got to have the legit movie theater experience, chairs, everything. If you've got that in your home, watch it on Disney Plus. If you don't have that in your home, don't sit on your couch. Get in your car, go to the theaters, see this movie, because holy cow, it was amazing. So, I am James, aka XG Wolverine. Stick around for the spoilers, because that's where we're going next. Nothing but love for you guys. All right, well, I'm just gonna jump right to the end of it because I'm gonna call bullshit on that end credit scene, straight up. Now, it's not the whole scene. The whole end credit scene, oh man, it was like I was about to cry. And as you can see, I'm Iron Man, so Iron Man was my favorite one who got knocked out in the Avengers. In Avengers Endgame, when he died out, that was like, when Black Widow died, it was like, all right, that was cool, it was touching, but real talk, that got me. I mean, got me right in the feels. I mean, I just all up in the feels on that whole end credit scene. I mean, it was beautiful the way it was done. And it was very touching. But the problem I have with that end credit scene is the very end of it, when Yelena is at her sister's grave, grieving for her loss. Obviously, there's no body. I mean, if there is a body, then that's pretty chill. But as far as we know, the body's on Vormir. So unless Cap was able to bring her body back, when he returned the Soulstone, they didn't really show anything like that. So it was kind of like, you just have to imagine that, they just did an empty grave, put up a tombstone and stuff. I will say, when the other individual involved walked up to Yelena and she basically says, I have your next assignment for you. How would you like to go after the person that killed your sister? And then she opens the folder to show Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye. As soon as the screen went black, I said aloud in the theaters, I'm calling bullshit on that. Period. End of discussion. And I had, it was about a 70-30. Like 70% of the people laughed because they're like, yep, straight up. 30% of the people were kind of like confused. And I'm like, if you were confused, go watch Avengers Endgame. You'll understand. And that's pretty much where I left it at. And I walked out and I was just that set me off in a way that I was not happy about. So yeah, that end credit scene, that's what knocked it down. And it was the very end of that end credit scene. Like I said, it wasn't the whole scene. The whole scene was the 90% of that scene was just touching and heartfelt. And it was a flat out confirmation to the whole world. There is no speculation no more. There is no spoilers as far as maybe it happened this way, maybe it happened this way. No, it happened the way it happened. The person who died on Vormir when the Soul Stone was obtained by Hawkeye, that person was Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. There it is. That's it. The movie itself just told you the deal. So stop guessing, stop speculating. Maybe it was Yelena. Don't get me wrong. I was kind of hoping for that. I'm like, yo, real talk. I hope it is Yelena. I mean, I don't have nothing against the young lady who played her, and I didn't have nothing against her character. But I was really, really, really hoping that it would be. I was hoping that Black Widow wouldn't be dead, but sadly, like my dude Iron Man, she is. Um, our our first introduction to Red Guardian is at the near the tail end of the opening segment where it shows the young girls when he flips over this thing. I'm like, all right, okay, that's new. That was pretty cool to introduce him like that because you didn't know. You're like, so the whole time they're playing it up that mom and dad and the two kids, like they're an actual family, like they're legit blood and everything. And so it was the other thing I gotta call out in that was it was weird to have that young lady with pink hair or blue hair, excuse me, I don't know why I said pink. Weird to have that young lady with blue hair being Natasha. 9-year-old Natasha with blue hair. Y'all wrap your brains around that. I like her as a redhead personally. Didn't really care for her much as a blonde in Avengers Endgame, but whatever. The first time we were introduced to him, and he wasn't even wearing the Red Guardian suit. He was just there. He just flipped the trailer over, like boom, done. That was our first introduction to him, and then once Yelena and Natasha actually get together after they've gone through their little thing, it was very interesting to see that the Red Room had went from just how Natasha was done versus how Yelena was done. It was Yelena's manipulation was more of a chemical based. Natasha was just, it was kind of beat into her in the Red Room. So that was kind of interesting to see that little plot device in there. The whole story swirls around. There's a counter agent to the mind control. So that was very neat. Budapest was definitely, it was explained. It wasn't shown, which I thought kind of sucked, but it was explained in greater detail. Which really was kind of, that's where the oh snap, I'm drawing a blank on the name. Anyhow, that's where the other armored person comes into play. Is because basically they're like the ultimate super soldier for the person who's running the Red Room. Honestly, I thought it was a nice little touch to add that in. I really got to say that when Natasha and Yelena work together, as far as their plan to go and take down the leader of the Red Room, which, little side note on that, Black Widow might have been her call sign, but apparently everyone that came out of the Red Room, they were all widows. They were all Black Widows. So unlike, say, I know we're jumping franchises and total comic book things, but unlike Batman, where Bruce Wayne is Batman, if there's a Batgirl, Batwoman, Nightwing, the only one in the Bat family who has transitioned, the only character that has transitioned from person to person was Robin. Batman did transition once, but that was Batman Beyond. But as far as like the majority of it, Batman was Batman. Batman was Bruce Wayne. It doesn't transition to Terry McGinnis until Batman Beyond. So it's kind of like with Iron Man or with, say, Thor, or Captain America. Captain America will transition from Steve Rogers um Sam Wilson, Falcon. We all know what's happening because of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but still. Um so yeah, that's kind of where that's at. So it was kind of interesting to see that there's more than one Black Widow and that they're all, Black Widowies and stuff. um and they're all mind controlled to be what they are. So that was kind of interesting. Um one one epically funny scene is when Natasha and Yelena break Alexei, who is the Red Guardian, when they break him out of prison, because after the events at the beginning of the movie, he basically was thrown into prison. He's like, "Yo, I want my suit back," and the general's like, "Yo, I want you in prison," and so that's how that played out. And when they break him out and they've got him in a helicopter and they're all flying off from the prison, Yelena, oh my goodness, Marvel Phase 4 is gonna be lit because Yelena got graphic with the whole ordeal of what they do in the Red Room. Like, you would think, okay, they chemically fix the ladies. She was all graphic about, they go up in there and they take it all out. I'm like, what? And Alexei, he's standing there in a helicopter and he nearby, like, no, stop. And everybody in the theater starts laughing at that because I'm like, dude, that's harsh. It was so funny when that mess was being said. But yeah, there was great times to be had. My judgment's still a little bit clouded over that whole thing of the end credit scene, and honestly, I really feel like I should go watch it again. Seriously, because it was a thrill ride for me. I had a ball watching it. I had a blast hanging out there at the theaters, just doing my thing. So yeah, for the most part, it was perfect. I don't know what more I can really say about it other than the end of it. Before the credits rolled, the end of it was pretty cool. It actually showed how Natasha got the jet that she showed up on through a friend of hers / contact. And it also showed how she got the vest that she was wearing in Infinity War and Endgame. So with that, the only other cool thing that I think happened, which there was plenty of others that I can't remember, but I mean, these are the ones that are sticking out. This is why I wish I had like 4 people that, be a part of this, because holy cow, it would be amazing. Because I can't remember everything. I'm only human. But the other thing that happened was, as she took off in this jet, they did a clip of the Avengers theme with it, and I'm sorry, that was amazing. I thought it was cool because it basically is like, she's going off to join the Avengers to break people out of prison so they can do the Infinity War thing. So that was really cool. This is definitely one I will be buying to add to my collection. It honestly made me want to watch Civil War. It really did, which I had Civil War, I thought, and apparently I don't know where it's at, so I've got to buy Civil War. But it's okay. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow all this mess. Leave me comments. I mean, even if you tell me I suck, don't quit your day job, whatever, leave me some comments down in the comments below about what you think of these review videos. Do you think this one's better than the last one? I certainly hope so. That being said, Thank you guys for watching. I'm James, XG Wolverine. This is the XG Wolverine show movie reviews. And yeah, none but love for all you guys.